We're going to dive into some designs across multiple programs to put into practice what we've learned. Now, in the future, I'll be putting together a more in-depth course, and it'll include one part in particular I want to just touch on before we begin: inspiration. So specifically, before you jump into a design, go out and be inspired. Go to sites like Behance and Dribbble and search for the type of design you need to put together. You can gather up a bunch of ideas for photo treatments, layouts, text treatments, colors, and everything else. You can broaden your thinking so that's not just you trying to come up with a design by yourself. Get out there and be inspired. So for all of the example designs we're about to jump through, that's exactly what I did. I went out, searched for presentation, ads, documents, and was inspired, caught some ideas, and that's what we're going to put together here. But the full course is for another day, and for now, let's dive into these examples and put into practice what we've learned. So first up, let's put together a slide for a data company. Now, based on a inspiration piece, this is what I'd come up for. So a kind of nice blue and gray and neutral color palette. So it's nothing too bright and vibrant, just ideas of solid, reliable data business. Brought in some nice iconography to break things up, and you can see all the other pieces of work. The other kind of interesting point was adding a bit of a slant to the image, just to provide some visual interest, and that's actually just a trick. I'll show you how to do that as well. But let's start at the very beginning and go through everything that we've learned to achieve this effect. So a bit of a difference when it's just the base text. So let's start at the beginning. Let's find a nice font. So go off to Font Pair or FontMine or any of the other font sites that we'd mentioned on that site. Pinterest for great Google font combinations. In my case, I started out at Font Pair and came across Oswald and Open Sans. Now these are sans serif fonts, so modern, straight to the point, something that'd be very good for a data company. So Oswald Open Sans. Now I happen to have this already installed, so we can skip that part of the process. Let's put that into our design. So here's the title, kind of two titles. Let's put that as Oswald. And let's make the rest of it Open Sans. Very good. Now for our sizing that we had discussed, as I'm seeing it, we kind of have three different places. We have the body text, we have kind of these subheaders, and then we have the main titles. So let's see how doubling looks with everything. So if we grab this and put it to, I think 26 is kind of probably be a little big, so I might squeak it down to 24. Maybe even a 23 or a 22. I kind of like how 22 is looking. Let's roll with that for now. That's 22. 22. If that's 22, that means this has to be around 50 or 44. So let's try, for instance, like 46. And I say that because in actual fact, we're trying to double it each time, but I cheated it once, might be able to cheat it again. Again, that just looks a little big to me, so I might cheat it down to 42, but trying to get as close to doubling as possible. There we go. I think that has a nice visual hierarchy. So let's roll with that. So Oswald at 42. Let's do that to our other title. Bing, bing, boom. Let's just cheat that out there for now. And I think that's the same one as here. As far as the subtitles, we'll put that as 22. And also just, for now, have it going across. Okay, so we have some visual hierarchy from adding the sizing. Let's do the same for the weight. Now, because this is the different font, I don't think we need to do it here, but with these subheaders, I think we can go right up to bold. Do the same here. Now it's all looking a little bit messy here, but I know that we're going to be heading to a different spot with the layout, so I'm not too concerned about it yet. Let's move it around a little bit so at least we can read. Now in some ways I'm kind of cheating because I know that this is going to be a big header over here. But let's not worry about that too much. So that's looking great. So now we've skipped a weight. We've gone from regular right up into a bold. And you know what? I wonder if it might even look nicer as light. So open sans light. So even having a bigger skip. It feels a bit too much to me for now. Let's go back to just regular. So colors. What colors can we add into here? So for that, let's just go over to Pinterest and we'll do our search for cool blue gray color palette. Now remember that keeping it within the cool color range and then more towards blues, because blues, as we know, are reliable, trustworthy, solid companies. Calm, for somebody managing your data, you'd like it to be calm. So that color palette makes sense. Quick search on Pinterest for that. Lots of great options. So we're looking at blues like the one over here seem a little too bright, a little too cheery. Seems a bit absurd for a data company. Now this is a bit more towards what we're looking for, like calm, cool, nice neutrals. That looks great. Don't even mind brown so much in a different world as far as being dependable, like we talked about. If you remember with brown, that's a nice color to add for a data company. But I already picked out one that we can use. So here's a nice, very neutral, very monochromatic type of range, just two noteworthy blues in here, and this type of gray blue in between, and then just grays. Looks really nice. Let's grab it. So you remember the trick for doing that if your tool has an eyedropper, such as PowerPoint. Otherwise, using a tool like Color Picker to pick out the various colors and add it into your program. But let's go ahead and grab that. Grab a screenshot so we can get the colors. Copy. Great. Oops, wrong press. Not a problem. We already grabbed it. As you can see, actually, I'd already prepared this for it. Okay, grab it. Let's just so we have it in our recent colors, let's just grab 3 of the colors, maybe even 4, and add it in. So first color, shape fill, eyedropper, that first blue. Same thing, eyedropper, let's grab that next blue, next over. Let's grab the nice dark. And let's grab one of the neutrals. I'm going to grab the lighter neutral for us to use. This one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Colors locked up. So at first for me, I think we can make all the headers more into this kind of softer blue gray as opposed to flat black. Generally speaking, if you can avoid flat black, all the better. So from our recent colors, let's pull out that recent one. There, see, that's a nice effect, right? So if we go back, just harsh, flat black, as opposed to slightly softer gray blue, which looks really nice. Now the question would be, can we get away with making these a color? That would be these subheaders. Oops, wrong side. Can we make those a color? I find that a little confusing to have that one there, so I think we'll save those colors for the image and the icons we have. Might come back to it. So we have our colors loaded up, we have them saved. So we have the fonts ready to go, we have some visual hierarchy. At the moment it's kind of sloppy because it's all in the middle, but we know we want to bring in an image, so I'm not going to stress about it yet. Speaking of image, let's go off and grab that. Now in this case, I'd found a great image on Burst, so burst.shopify.com. That great resource for free photos we found. In this case, just somebody programming on a laptop. Great data, laptop, computers, all within the theme that we're going for. I already have that saved within here for us to grab, just save a little bit of time. And for the inspiration piece I'd found, it had it on the left side with a bit of an angle. So let me get this out of the way. Paste in the image. Let's go ahead and crop it so it just sticks to the left. Now, hopefully in future they provide even more crop tools. It'd be fun if I could work with the shape itself to get that nice angle that we're going to look for later on. But for now, let's see, I want to include a decent amount of the screen, not make it too wide. There we have it. Remember from our photo course that having it bleed off to the edges produces a lot of impact force, which is nice. Tell you what, I think I want to have that out a little bit further. There we go. Now let's go ahead and put a color on top of it. Sneak it up to the corner, sneak it up to the corner. Same on the bottom, because we're going to put text on it, so we want it to be nice and legible. Shape outline, get rid of that. And which color should we try? So here we can experiment. So we can try with kind of like our main blue that we'd sort of found. Let's ensure that that's transparent slightly. You know, if we start with 30, not a bad effect, but I'd almost want to just have the color play a bit of a role, especially since we're going to have text on top of it. Now, the quick trick for making an angle or cutting it out, you can just use the other shapes to cut out or to add or to take away from the other photos that you have. So in this case, because we have a nice angle on the photo, we'll just grab a triangle, get rid of the outline, make it white. And look at this, now we can just mess around with the triangle and get our desired effect. So you're not always going, based on your inspiration, you're not always going to be able to do everything you see if you don't have the full designer programs. However, with a couple tricks, like there can be some pretty interesting ways to get something done. So I'll always be thinking about the shapes and the layers and what you can do to make things happen. Okay, let's get this all to the back. Send back and send to back. There we have it. Now in my inspiration piece, the main title and the subtitle was actually on the left side, so I want to make that happen here. Might need to make everything a bit wider if I'm going to be able to maintain these sizes, these font sizes. Because that feels a bit crowded to me. So let's do that. Let's recrop. Let's get the image nice and over. A little too far. Let's start there, see where we get. Data drives better decisions. Now, of course, that's not enough contrast. So two options, of course, are to lighten the text and also darken the background. I wonder if we can keep the blue if we go with the lighter, or perhaps go with a white. Wrong one. Let's try white over here. What would this look like with the lighter blue? Probably just fade it off. Not really a lot of contrast. Perhaps if we make this shape in the background a darker blue. There we go. Looks kind of nice. Okay, and the other thing to try per our inspiration piece is perhaps the top one is the blue and then the bottom one is the white. But you know, I actually like the header being white because it's more contrast, which means it better drives the visual hierarchy. So let's try that again. Get rid of these for now. All right. Now, remember with alignment, let's get all of this aligned together. More importantly, let's get this header aligned with the one on the right. And two options here. We can either have it lined up with the bottom text or the top text and see which one we prefer. What's kind of interesting is if we line it up with the bottom. So again, this is the topmost thing, and then we're leading through to the rest. Now let's see where we get to when we add the next part with our icons. So this is just 1, 2, 3, although I don't know that it really impacts too much to have it in order. So this is where some icons would be great, because this is a theme, so data, automation, computers, there's a lot of icons that we can use for that. So let's go ahead and grab some icons. Now I'd found some before we started, just to speed things up here. So just some nice neutral data looking icons. And this goes back to the same lesson too, is if you're not sure what icon might work for an idea, just Google search it to get some concepts and then find icons for that. So for automation, you'll see things like things for gears, for wheels and processes. For data classification or importance, you can search for those type of things. Google's your buddy and will give you a whole lot of ideas. Let's get that aligned with the wording. Make them a little smaller so they kind of fit nicely. That looks like the next size to me, which means let's bring this one down. Make sure it's lined up. Again, back to our alignment. And same with this one. Great, great, great. One, two, three. Now that's feeling a bit too low for my liking, so I think let's try to bring this header up to the top line. Let's bring it over and line it up on the left side with the icons. And now we can bring all these guys up. Have it nice and centered. Perhaps if we bring it up, so this will actually be kind of in the middle of this one. Yeah, that feels a little bit better for me. So instead of being an exact top and bottom, we'll have it in the middle of that. So that still is aligned in a different sense, a different way. Bring this one up, because I'd like to have these three aligned with the top of that too. There it is. Cheat it up just a bit. Okay, and there we have it. A few quick tricks and just following our rules for fonts. The sizing, the weight, the colors, images, and icons. We've been able to put together a much better looking slide.